Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Overcomers. My name is Josh Clark, and I'm excited to talk with you about a topic that I'm very passionate about. And the title of our talk is Dream or Die. I know those are harsh words, perhaps, but I think in a moment, you'll agree with me that it really sums up the choices we have. We're either going to be dreaming of a brighter and better future, or we're dead. We're a walking zombie. Benjamin Franklin said, some people die at 25, but yet aren't buried till 75. So I want to talk about why dreaming is so essential to your wellness, to your success, because most of us aren't achieving because simply we're not dreaming. We become what I like to call what Zig Ziglar refers to as SNEOPs, somebody who is susceptible to the negative influence of other people. You know, as children, we dream. We dream of doing great things, of maybe being a fireman, a policeman, of climbing this mountain, forging that river, and, doing great daring feats. But as we get older, what happens? Why is it that we give up on those dreams? Maybe it's because we stub our toe, we hit our head, and we say, who am I? Who am I to dream a dream? Who am I to think it's possible? Others around us begin to tell us, don't you know the stats? Don't you know the odds? Don't you realize you're just an average, ordinary person? But I'm here to tell you, we're not. And I'm here to tell you, I believe with all my heart that each and every one of us have been engineered for success, designed for accomplishment, and endowed with the seeds of greatness by our Creator. I love the verse in Proverbs that says, where there is no vision, the people perish. I look around and I see a lot of us, we're perishing, either for seasons or perishing, as Benjamin Franklin said, and basically dead for the rest of our life, never waking up. And I'm here to tell you, wake up, dream a dream. You have to dream in order to achieve. Almost everything worthwhile started as a dream first. I think about the quote by Malcolm Forbes that said, when you cease to dream, you cease to live. Or the quote by Carl Sandburg, he said, nothing happens unless first we dream. But let me acknowledge what you may already be thinking and what we know is to be true, that dreaming without achieving it's depressing. We've all been there. I've been there. You've been there. We've dreamed a dream. Maybe we even shared that dream and it was utterly humiliating. It was embarrassing. Maybe others saw it or it was good enough that we ourselves, we knew we had that goal, that aspiration. We knew we fell so short. And if that's you, like it's been for me at times, then I want to be very clear that the reason for our failure is not the fact that we dared to dream. It all comes down, I believe, to one of the following reasons. Number one, perhaps we aren't dreaming authentic, big dreams. What do I mean by authentic? Sometimes we see somebody else's dream. We watch a movie, we think, oh, wouldn't that be great? Oh, I want to do that. But sometimes we're stealing somebody else's dream rather than it being our own dream. Now, there's nothing wrong with having the same dream that somebody else has. There's a lot of dreams that should be shared dreams of equality and fairness, right? Those are dreams that we should have for our society and for the world that we all share. But you know what I'm saying? Sometimes we think we want this or that, and it's not authentic to who we are, who we've been wired to be and to achieve. Number two, perhaps we stop dreaming big. We stopped dreaming. Maybe once we dreamed, but we've quit. We've stopped dreaming. You see, in order to be alive, we have to continue dreaming. We can't give up on our dream. Because if we do, as soon as we do, we're dead. We're a walking zombie. Maybe the third thing I see that I think can kill a dream and cause us to not achieve it is the dream isn't big enough. Notice I keep saying big dreams, audacious dreams. Is the dream big enough to motivate you to get out of bed? When I think about that, I think about, do you wake up raring and ready to go? I remember I was building a house one summer, and the older gentleman who's a retired builder who showed up actually to help My wife's brothers, before I was with her, I was planting seeds, but I was helping the family. I say planting seeds in order to win her father's approval. But we were building a home. It turned out to be a 10,000 square foot home. Now she comes from a big family of 12, but I'll never forget. We would start very early. He would drive 2 hours from Griffin to show up, and when he'd show up, he'd always ask, "Are you raring or just ready?" And if we were just ready to go, he'd start into some pep talk to motivate and encourage us on why we should be raring to go, how blessed we were to live in America, how blessed we were to have 2 arms and legs that worked, to be able to go out and create something and build something and make something. And so I think of that often. Are you raring or are you just ready? If the dream isn't big enough, it may not motivate us enough to go out and do things. Let me tell you something. Young people, and I think all of us, but especially young people, they are captivated by a big dream, by a big, to make a big difference in the world. Now, maybe when we're young, there's some naivety, which is a good thing too. Maybe we don't realize how hard it will be to accomplish that. But as we get older, I think we do well to stick around young people and keep that optimism and continue to dream. And as we grow in wisdom and experience, we can't let our dreams shrink, because if they do, they won't inspire us and they won't inspire others. So dream a big dream that will motivate you. Next, they don't dream a big enough dream that will motivate them to grow. One of my favorite things in life is that my desire, 5 years from now, I don't want you to recognize me. I want to continue growing and developing into everything the potential that God gave me. I may be just an ordinary person, but I know that every one of us can do extraordinary things if we'll challenge ourselves, if we'll push ourselves, if we'll dream big enough to require ourselves to have to grow into that dream. So maybe we're failing at our dreams because it's not big enough to motivate us to invest in our education and personal growth and development. Okay, next, maybe we don't have a community around us that's supporting us and encouraging us. It's been said that we are the average of the 5 people that we surround ourselves with. I was blessed to grow up listening to people like Zig Ziglar and Jim Rohn, and John Maxwell and others. And I was reminded over and over again. And I think one of the best things we can do is expose our children to personal growth, leadership development, and to positivity. Putting quality of input determines quality of output. But you know what? It's not just what we put in, but it's also who we surround ourselves with. We'll become the average of the 5 people. And that's why it's so important that we encourage our kids about who they're around. It's important that we heed that advice ourselves. And it's important that we reach out and mentor others and pour into other communities and be there to realize that we all need a positive voice in order to rise to the level, so that we rise to the level of the people that are around us. Okay, next, perhaps a dream dies because we haven't turned that dream into a roadmap. It starts with a dream. And by the way, these things here, you're going to see, I'm going to be coming out with weekly podcasts just like I used to. I took a break, but turned into extended break after my 365-day tour that my wife and I, it's called the In the Trend 365-day tour. We moved into a bus with our 6 kids and traveled US and Canada on a mission. But when that ended, I never got back to the weekly podcast. And so we're going to get back to that for the most part. We're going to strive to do it weekly, but we're going to hit some of these other topics here that I'm just brushing over very quickly. But again, do we have a roadmap to help that dream to become a reality? Just like we would if we dreamed of going to Yellowstone or Yosemite, or going to visit the giant redwoods, the sequoias on the West Coast. I love them, as you can tell. But do you have a roadmap to get there? Or else it's crazy. You'll never achieve the dream. And then next, do we have supportive daily habits that will help us to reach that dream? Next, do we have accountability in our life? I have found one of the biggest keys to success in any area of my life, whether it's spiritually, physically, fitness, health, marriage, parenting, business, finances, is having people in my life to encourage me, support me, and hold me accountable. And I have to ask for it. So again, if these 8 things that I just went over, if we don't have them in our life, it's no wonder we're going to dream. Or we might look at somebody else and say, I don't want to be like them because they're always just dreaming, but they're never achieving. But together, we can put the ingredients in place in order to dream and achieve. But the good news is, here's the good news. Are you ready? The good news is all 8 of these that I just hit on the keys to making a dream become a reality are within our control. We can control those 8 things. We focus so often on what we can't control instead of what we can control. But it all starts, and I want to come back to it, with a dream. You can have a supportive community, a detailed roadmap. You can identify supportive habits and have accountability in your life. But if you don't have a dream, it won't matter much. So let's begin by talking about the key ingredient that unlocks a dream. Let me say this, you cannot let your current circumstances or the things that are out of your control, the things that are out of your control, distract you from what you can control. I call it controlling the controllables. Control the controllables. Here's the controllables. The best way, you're going to have to think about this for a second, but I think you'll agree it's true. The best way to predict the future is to create it, starting today. It's Abraham Lincoln. I think that quote is fitting more so today than at any time. We're at the beginning of a new year, of a new quarter, of a new year, and of a new decade. We just wrapped up another presidential election. Every 4 years we have one. And just about every 4 years, well, every 4 years, yes, every 4 years, basically, simple math, let's just make it simple here. Half the population gets what they want and the other half doesn't. About 50-50, give or take, right? That's the reality. Now, we can either focus in on what we can't control. I remember somebody who I knew that would always, if you were calling to collect rent, they would always focus in on, well, Josh, the president of the United States just did this, just did that. And therefore, my small business, I'm not able to make the rent. But you know what? It didn't matter who it was in office. It didn't matter. And I'm sure that person didn't see it that way, but it was true because I observed this over many years. It didn't matter what the circumstances. There's always something they could point to that they couldn't control. But you see, here's the reality. We've got to focus on what we can. We got to focus on controlling the controllables. We can, for the most part, predict the future by creating it today. Focus on what you can. I think about the quote by Martin Luther King Jr. He said, we must walk on the days ahead with an audacious, I love that, audacious faith in the future. I think about when he delivered that speech, I Have a Dream speech. I think about what he had experienced, which I'll never know, what he had faced, what he had endured, what he had witnessed. It wasn't fairness. He saw racism, oppression, and inequality. And yet he saw into the future, the dawn of a new day ahead. And he could work toward that and bring people in toward a future for a brighter tomorrow. That's what I'm asking you to do in your own, in years of my life. Dream of a better future. Even if you don't see it in the moment, have faith. I love this quote by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. He said, dream no small dreams, for they have no power to move the hearts of men. See, too often, we're not motivated, we're not inspired again because the dream is too small. And then I want to remind you of the quote from Albert Einstein. He said, never give up. Never stop on what you really want to do. The person with the big dream is more powerful than the one with all the facts. See, remember I started out earlier saying there's no shortage of people or voices in our own head that will tell us that's too big a dream. How dare you dream that? How dare you think that? You see, but the more that we give into that, the more we not only hurt our own potential to impact, to change the world, to offer value, but we also limit those around us. And I don't want to be a part of that. And I don't want you to be a part of that. I don't, as a parent, being blessed and privileged to be mentors to them and to others, I want to be an example of dreaming big dreams, of having the faith audacious faith, as Martin Luther King Jr. said, in a brighter future tomorrow. When I think of that, having a dream, I also think of John F. Kennedy. I remember listening to the speech when he stood before Congress and said, "This nation shall commit itself to achieving the goal before the decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the earth." And then on September 12, 1962, President John F. Kennedy gave the famous moon speech at Rice Stadium. And he said, "We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do other great things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard." You think he didn't know the Soviet Union was ahead of us at that point in the space race? You think he didn't know the odds that we were up against? And yet he knew if he didn't publicly come out and dream a big dream and call us to action, it would never happen. And it happened. It happened on June 20th. After setbacks, the Apollo 11 with Americans Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, I've had the privilege of getting to meet Buzz Aldrin. That was incredible. They landed on the moon. What is it that you're supposed to strive for? What is it that you're supposed to dream about? The world isn't served by you playing small. It isn't. Not at all. You're not served. Let me say it again. The world around you is not served. You and I impact. We're a part of a big world. We're a part of a fabric that what you and I do, how we dream, how we think, how we choose to be positive about the future and love others affects everyone. Let me give you a couple of examples. In fact, before I do, I want to share another 2 quotes with you. "Fill your brain with giant dreams so it has no space for petty pursuits." Robin Sharma. Fill your head with big dreams. Otherwise, let me tell you something, you are either advancing somebody else's dream or your own. Now, there's nothing wrong with doing both when you're able to, right? I love helping people achieve their dreams. But what I'm saying is, whether you dream or not, you are a part of somebody's dream. But are you going toward the things that you are destined to do and to become? Are you living intentionally? I beg you and I, if we're not in the moment, let's commit to doing it today. And finally, never give up on a dream just because of the time it will take to accomplish it. The time will pass anyway. See, sometimes we don't dream big dreams because we say that'll take too long. Now, I'm all about breaking down a big dream, and we'll have future podcast on this, into little milestones, right? Small steps. In fact, I'm breaking down a big one for myself right now. It's a conversation for another day, with small little steps so that I can see it and I can reach for it and I can achieve it on a daily basis. But don't give up on the big dreams. Let me give you a couple examples growing up and a couple examples in my own life. And then I've got a challenge for you, and then we're going to wrap it up. Okay? A couple examples. I like to say, and it's a reality, I was listening to somebody else this morning in a Bible study talk about growing up poor, and I was thinking, I love hearing your story, but you don't know what poor is. We were the poor talked about. And yet I was still so blessed, and I know it in so many ways. But we were. And I could go on and tell you why, okay? But I won't give you examples for a moment, but another day, okay? But we were the poor talked about when I was younger, when I was growing up. And yet my mother dreamed a dream, even with just one car that barely ran. In fact, we used to call it the chicken coop because it had been a chicken coop at one time, we were told, but it was nothing impressive. But she dreamed a dream of starting a business and teaching us kids to not look at what we had, but to look at where we could go. And so she started a business. It was called Survival Home Cleaning Skills. And I remember going and visiting manufacturing plants and looking at products with her and helping her put together catalogs and staple it and print it. Very, think about today with our laser printers and color printers and all that. There's nothing like that. But we put these little booklets together and we gave them out. And I think about her teaching us to dream. And I think about how that led to my brother dreaming a dream of starting having a light, an eco-friendly light full of lightning bugs that you just shook. He said, "Mom, I got a dream. It started with little dreams." And he had a jar that he would shake and take to the bathroom at night, and it would provide light. And my mother encouraged him with that dream and said, "Son, keep dreaming. Keep dreaming." She knew there was already a flashlight, but she didn't kill the dream. She encouraged him. And that's where I was super blessed growing up. Might have been poor, may have missed out on a lot of things, a whole lot of things that other kids got to do. But you know what? The most important thing was my parents taught me to dream and to go out there and help me break down the dreams, which we will do that. And then I remember we had family meeting when my parents together started a business. We talked about the sacrifice it would take, but where it could go, what that dream would allow us to do, to travel and do things as a family, to be able to give and contribute and all these things. It captured our imagination and we got involved. I remember when my parents dreamed a dream of buying a house debt-free. They had a conviction to buy it debt-free. And we went back to eating beans and rice and at every meal and eat it very, very simple and saving every dollar for them to buy that house. I think about Chelsea's parents. I remember as a child, I was blessed to know them. And I remember her mom talking about how much she needed to make every day in order to pay for the farm, the dream that she had to have a farm. And it was the paper route added to that, things she could sell on the side added to that. Her husband is an engineer, my father-in-law now, who built antique reproduction tables and all, how that would add toward that amount. And I remember hearing it broken down in this big dream and how she was going to achieve it inspired me. I think about how that led in my own life, where I dreamed a dream that I would be able to serve, whether as a pastor or as a missionary, wherever God may call me. And then about the age of 30, that I'd be able to support myself with residual income. And I wanted to earn it through making an impact and contributing, because my mother always said, you use your gifts, talents, and abilities in order to make this world a better place. And so at 30 years old, I was blessed. I didn't see this in my cards. I really seriously didn't. Running for office. That was not one of my dreams, but my goal was to help and support others who truly wanted to serve. But I ended up running for office, and I was able to live off of the business, the residual income I built between the business, a couple of businesses I had, my nutrition, direct sales, network marketing business, between my real estate. I was able to do that through investments I made through that first business. Anyway, those are dreams. I had the dream of building enough rental houses to be able to provide an additional source of revenue, where if something happened, I'd have a second. I had a dream of buying a home on the lake. But sometimes you dream big dreams and you don't achieve them when you set out to achieve them. In fact, when we had that dream, we even had a house under contract and we walked away from it because we felt called to do something else. But we continued. You just modify and change your dreams, but you keep on dreaming. We had a dream to get to a certain amount of rental houses. I made a decision which slowed that down when I made a move to California. But you know what? That's okay. I just modified that a bit. So keep dreaming, even if not everything you dream of, you actually achieve. Maybe it's not, you shoot for the stars and land them on the clouds, right? But you still do more than you would have done otherwise. I think of Chelsea and I on a date night, having a dream of starting a mission trip within our business where we can invite the people within our business to a serving as living trip, where we could show them that our dream had been to have a business that would allow us to serve and that would help us grow as a person so that we could then contribute that personal growth and to the benefit of others. And you know what? We hit roadblock after roadblock for years. It's an amazing story. At least it is from my perspective, what we went through. And then it came to pass. So again, I just want to encourage you. I have found these principles, these things to be true in my own life, and I know they'll be true for you as well. You need to have a bag of dreams. A bag of dreams. One day, one dream may not be the motivating factor, but maybe another dream is. One of my dreams is to get my pilot's license. First, I'm working on a book that has to be finished before I can do that. But you know what? That dream, it inspires me to get the other dream done, right? So one day we'd like to sail around the world. I work hard. I want to play hard with the family. I'd like to take 6 months and sail with the family. Maybe work on a book, quality time with the family. But you know what? It starts with a dream. What are your dreams? What is it that you want to accomplish? Here's my challenge for you in closing. Now, you modify this however you want, but here's just some things that kind of it's a framework to get you thinking, get you started. Maybe you have that car like I did at one time that didn't have AC, sweating like crazy, dripping oil. I had to park it in the road because I couldn't couldn't pull in the driveway. Go to a car lot, take a picture in front of a car that's your dream and put it on the mirror and work toward it, save toward it. Maybe it's a home. Maybe you have a dream of a home like we did, to have a home on the lake where we could share it with others, with animals and all that, to have several acres. Go walk through a home that's being built. Put that on your dream board. My wife and I have had dream boards. So we didn't just dream it, we actually had pictures of it. Maybe it's a vacation, maybe it's a mission trip, maybe it's a mission trip followed by a vacation where you can do both. What is it? And then finally, share that dream with supportive family and friends. Just remember, there's always going to be those people trying to pull you back down as you get ahead, either to protect you. They think they're protecting you. Because sure, you're going to fail, but I always say fail forward. There's no harm in failing. Fail forward. But too many people want to protect us from that. Or they want to protect you from getting ahead because it makes them, if they don't choose to dream, it makes them feel like, less than they were, than they thought they were, right? So don't let others do that. Surround yourself with positive people that will encourage you and share your dream with positive, supportive people. All right, well, this concludes our broadcast today. I want to encourage you, if this has encouraged you, you take a moment to share this wherever you're consuming this content. If it's on Facebook, please comment and share. If it's on podcast, you can subscribe to my podcast. It's Josh S. Clark Overcomers Podcast. You can also go to joshsclark.com and you can view it there and other content as well, other resources. But I want to wish you a super, ultra awesome, fantastic day as you go out there and dream and inspire your family, inspire your community, and go out and live your destiny. God bless.